Well, good afternoon and welcome to this first Plugin Roundup of 2019. My name is Nathan Ingram and it is January. Plugin Roundup. We've got a fun list of plugins that have been added to or recently updated in the WordPress plugin directory over the last 30 days. Now, as is typical over the holidays, not as many plugins are updated or added as in other months. So January is a little lighter normally than other months. But the plugins we have on this list are really good, and I think that you'll find a few that will be immediately useful to you. So again, if you're just joining us and go to webinar, the chat room is live there at iThemes.com/chat. That is the best place to get your questions answered as we go and participate in the conversation. And also the handout, I'm going to drop that handout link one more time there in the bottom of the chat. There we go. So if you haven't gotten today's handout, make sure you grab that. That is the document that you are looking at here. We are, as always, working on wpnathan.com today, and that's where we'll be testing our plugins. So let's dive right in with the first one here. It's called Manage Notification Emails. Now, this one's been around a little while, but it got a good update last month, and it's one that I find particularly useful, especially on sites that are e-commerce related or membership platform related, sites that just tend to send out a lot of emails. And this plugin is going to give you some nice control over what emails WordPress sends out. So how many of you have had that situation where you as the admin are getting every single new user registration and you're getting password change updates from users? Those are emails that I just really don't want to receive, right? So this is a plugin that's going to help you deal with that. Manage notification emails. So let me go in here and activate that one. And we're going to get a nice little settings page that's going to give us our information. Notification emails right there. So we'll dive in here and look, we have all of these default core WordPress email notifications set up here. So new user notification to admin. Do I want to get an email as the admin every single time a new user registers? Probably not. We'll turn that off. Do I want to get, do we want to send the new user notification to the user? Absolutely. How about notify a post author if there's a comment? Yeah, we'll probably leave that on. Notify a moderator? Well, we're not really using that. You can turn that on or off. Password change notification to admin. This is the one where, do you really care if a user changes their email address? Generally speaking, I don't, so we're going to turn that one off. Password notification change to user. You absolutely want that one. Otherwise, they don't get the email to reset their password. How about this? Email address change to user. Do you want to let the user know that their email was changed? Maybe, maybe not. We'll turn that off. How about password forgotten email to user? So what this one is going to do is, when they want to get the password reset link, actually, I misspoke a minute ago. This is the one that contains the password reset link. This is the one that tells the user, hey, you just changed your password, or it was done successfully. So you can turn that on or off, doesn't matter. Password forgotten email to administrator. You definitely do not want to disable this one, because if you lock yourself out as the administrator, this is the one that sends you the password reset links. We want to leave that one. And do we want to enable core WordPress update emails? So we talked in the pre-show that WordPress 5.0.3 is in the process of dropping right now. So probably all of us who manage lots of sites for clients are about to get a flood of emails to the inbox, right? You know that new version dropped. I know it because I get, 80 to 120 different emails all in that same day. It's kind of frustrating. Look here, you can turn that off and WordPress will not email you when it updates to that minor update if you so choose. So you just turn on, checking on is turning on, checking off is turning off the email, save the changes, boom, that's all you have to do. And that changes the email behavior of the way WordPress does things. So pretty straightforward plugin, very, very handy. Any questions or comments on this one? That again is Manage Notification Emails. Oh, by the way, this does take over the core WordPress mail function, so it still is going to work well with other plugins, though. Any other questions or comments on this one? Manage notification emails. Pretty straightforward, but pretty useful as well. So let's move on to the next one on the list. How many Gravity Forms users do we have here? We love Gravity Forms here on iThemes Training. It's been something we've done lots of training on in previous years. And how many of you do you ever use Gravity Forms as, rather than having a MailChimp or a Constant Contact form, you just use a Gravity Form to capture subscription details or other sorts of forms that maybe you get a lot of, right? This Gravity Form plugin, what it's going to do is it's going to let you expire entries. So as Gravity Forms works, as you may or may not know, it stores every single form entry in the database, which is helpful in a lot of cases, but sometimes there are forms that you just don't want to have to store in the database. And this is going to let you set the expiration for those form entries. So let's activate this plugin, and we've got Gravity Forms working. So let's look at our forms here. And look, under each of the forms, under the settings, there's now a menu option for entry expiration. So let's click on it. And look, for this, and it's form by form, by the way. It's not all or nothing. It's form by form. So we can check the box here. And when we do that, we get a page reload and say, okay, we can delete any entries older than X number of minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, years. So you could say, if it's older than a month, delete it. And I want to run this deletion process once a day. So pretty helpful, I think. And there's a great point from Sherry in the chat. Could be really helpful for GDPR related things. So, if you don't want, if you're doing business in Europe and you don't want to track, keep information about forms that are submitted or whatever, you can set this entry expiration and it will just go in there and take care of them for you and wipe them from the database. P. Taubman's also saying some forms ought not to be saved in the database at all, right? So, and this is a good way to deal with that. So it's a really helpful plugin. If you use Gravity Forms, this is definitely one to keep in your toolbox. That is entry expiration for Gravity Forms. Carol is asking, Gravity expiration webpage says it's not being maintained. This was updated just recently here. No, it was updated 5 months ago. It just says here it hasn't been tested with the last 3 major releases of WordPress. The deal with this notice is whenever you submit your plugin or do an update, there's a one line you have to change in one of the files that says, yes, it was tested with, whatever version of WordPress. A lot of times developers just don't change that, especially when you're dealing with a plugin that's kind of an add-on for another plugin. So, you want to watch this, obviously, but a lot of times this is not necessarily true. It's working perfectly for me on WordPress 5.0 currently 2 here. So, yeah, it's a good point, Carol. Thanks for bringing that up, but this one does, in fact, work. So I actually found this one. This is one of those that wasn't updated in the last 30 days, but I actually found this one for a project that I'm currently working on dealing with Gravity Forms, and it'll be real helpful to expire some of those entries. So that's where this one came from, and I'm using it currently in a project, and I think it can be helpful for you as well. Any other questions on this one? Entry expiration for Gravity Forms. Okie dokie. Let's move on down our list to number 3, which is Accessibility Suite by Online ADA. Now, how many of you are doing anything related to accessibility with your websites? I know Melanie is. Melanie does a lot of great work with accessibility. Anybody else doing accessible websites? Any sort of accessible design? All right, so this might be a really good tool for everybody then. So let's activate Accessibility Suite. And just to note, this is an online service, and there can be a cost for the higher levels of this service, but this is one of those things where it might just be worth the cost, because this plugin and this online ADA service can simplify dramatically the time it takes to really get compliant with a site. So let's go in here. Once we've activated the plugin, I'm going to dismiss this nag notice. We now have a menu option for accessibility, and they give you this nice little getting started. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click Start Scan. And there's a couple of options here. And we're just going to let this thing run. So it is currently looking at our site for all of the accessibility issues that are important. Okay, so scan is complete. It's this is a small site, so it did not take very long to do. And down here we get our nice little scan report. So what do we have here? Look here, we are actually AA compliant with this site. So no errors, no warnings. We're compliant with Section 508 and the WCAG A and AA. AA is very strict. Now there is one contrast warning, which we'll go down here and have a look at. So let's look at our contrast data. Let's see. It says an error. Hang on a minute. Oh, it's right here. Duh. It's right here in front of me. Okay. So in our main menu, there is an element. There's some contrast issue in the main menu. Oh, you know what? It's the hover. So the hover color is not different enough. That's what it is. See that? So this light blue, there's just not enough contrast. So I bet you if we turn that to an obnoxious yellow or something like that, it'll pass the contrast report. So that's it. That's the only issue we had on the site. Carrie is asking, with this activated, are the accessibility restrictions caused by the new WordPress editor fixed? No. This is all dealing with the front end of the website. Gutenberg accessibility is still a big issue, and the official WordPress answer to that is, if you need an accessible editor, continue to use the classic editor, which I have a problem with, but they didn't ask me. Yes, Jesse is correct. The free version only scans the homepage. We'll get to the pro version in just a minute. Now, this is also very cool. Would you like to see a color blindness test? We'll click right here and look what you get. Here's how it looks to a person without any colorblind issues. Scroll down the page and you start getting all of the different types of colorblind types. I'm not going to try to pronounce these, but it shows you what people may see depending on what colorblind condition they may have. So you get a nice PDF report of that. I mean, this is a very basic page, so we don't really get a lot to see, but look at the difference in colors with people with various conditions. Pretty interesting. Now, obviously, things if there were multiple issues, we have multiple little drop downs here, multiple accordion items. The other nice thing here is maybe you're not after maybe you're only after level A compliance. You can turn off the things you're not concerned about, and it's only going to show you what the issues are that will give you the base level of WCAG compliance, which is pretty cool. It's just a really nice little service, brings it right here to the end inside of WordPress. Now, look here. You can also schedule scans with this plugin. So, schedule it for, let's see, start a new scan. You can schedule it monthly, 3 months, 6 months, once a year. So, and then all your schedule scans show up here on this page. So, pretty nifty. Paul is asking, for a client, would you bill more for AA compliance versus A compliance? Absolutely, because there are a lot of differences. The strictness between A and AA is pretty significant. There's a lot more you have to deal with for AA compliance. Melanie will tell you all about that. So this is a nice little tool. Now, here's the thing. Somebody was mentioning in the chat room earlier about the cost. So let me just show you what they offer. This is a single license, $347 a year, okay? But you get a lot more in the Pro version. Let me find the feature set here just a second, and I'll explain why this may be a really good idea for you. Let's see. Where is the... Maybe it's back here. There's a thing that shows the... Let's see. Full version gives you additional features. I'm trying to find that comparison chart. Well, I'm not quite sure where I saw that. For one thing, it definitely lets you scan the entire site, which is really helpful. If you do multiple sites, then you can bind multiple licenses. Here's where this could be a good idea, okay? If you are offering accessibility services to clients, this plugin is going to save you a ton of time. And you could charge quite a bit of money on an annual basis to keep the site compliant with accessibility issues. And this plugin gives you a great tool to do that. Now, there's something else this plugin does that I did not show you a second ago. Let's go to Scan Results. And it's here under Site Updates. Okay, look at this. This is great. This shows us all our images out of the whole media library that don't have a description. So you can, this is kind of ugly, but you can mark the image as decorative where it doesn't require a description or alt text, but you can enter all the alt text of all the images in one spot. So if you, for example, are charging your clients on a monthly basis to keep their site accessible, you go in here, you run a scan, you can see all the images that have been uploaded that have not been correctly captioned or, given correct alt text and so forth, and change them right here. Save it, boom, all the images are updated in the media library. That means that wherever that image appears on the site, the correct alt text is also going to appear. It's really, really nice. So it gives you some really good tools. This is, again, the free version, but this is this kind of thing that you could charge, extra $100, $200 a month for, depending on the organization you're supporting that needs to be, have an accessible website, or they might face legal action. E-commerce sites are becoming big targets, especially businesses based in California. California law allows an attorney just to sue a business if their site isn't accessible. Any organization that receives government funding has to be Section 508 compatible. So there's a market for this. And if you get smart on accessibility, this is a really good tool to have in your toolbox. It is expensive, but it's something that you could pay for and then really make some money on. Melanie, this is just for compliance. So it does not offer any additional tools, but what it does do is immediately give you a report in one spot of all the issues that need addressing. This image tool, I think, just in itself is really helpful. So that is Accessibility Suite by Online ADA. Any more questions on this one? My Own Worst Enemy is asking, could you buy the premium, test a site, uninstall it, try it on another? That's a great question. I don't know how their licensing works. All right. Any other comments on this one? Accessibility Suite. So keep that one in mind if you ever do any accessibility work. You might really find that helpful. Okay. Lazy Load Optimizer. So how many of you are familiar with the concept of lazy load? This is where, as you scroll down the page, maybe images or videos aren't loading until they actually appear in the screen, or maybe just before they appear in the screen. Now, the reason you'd want to do this is that it can dramatically cut down on page load time. And as you know, page load, page speed is a big factor in Google's ranking algorithm, especially for mobile devices. So if you have a page with lots of images it's got to load every single one of those images before the page reports back to Google that the page load is complete. But with a lazy load tool like this, what's going to happen is the page reports completed load, but then the images themselves don't load until they actually come into view. So it can really, really speed up a slow page. So let's go in here and let us activate Lazy Load Optimizer. By the way, there are a number of plugins that do this, but this is a good one, just a standalone that's free in the WordPress directory. And what I'm going to do, I've got a page here. Okay, here's page 4 on my site, and I've just stuck a whole bunch of images on there. Look at all, just a ton of images, right? So what I'm going to do is refresh this page, and watch what happens. As we scroll down the page, you'll see the images. Well, they've already loaded. Hang on a minute. Let's change some of our settings here. So I think they're loading ahead of the page. Okay. So let's see. There's a couple of options here in the settings page. And what it's gonna let us do is, like this says, okay, it's going to load images that are defaulting. The default value is, where is it? Doesn't tell me what the default value is, but it's at 370 to 500 pixels outside of the viewport. So let's just do this. Let's make it load at 1 pixel outside of the viewport, and this way you'll actually be able to see the images lazy loading. All right, so now as we scroll down, see how they're not, see them, you can barely see the little pinwheel, but see how they don't load until we get there. See that? It's hard to see because I'm on a super fast connection, and these images have been cached as well in my browser. So they're loading fast, but you can see the little pinwheel there for a split second. Now, from the page load perspective, what's actually happening is those images, the page report's loaded, but the images actually aren't appearing until we get there. So it's really helpful. This setting says, maybe I don't want the images to load until they're 50 pixels away from the image on the page. And that way, the user might not even be aware. Like if we're just scrolling down, look at that, they're 50 pixels away. So an image that is 50 pixels below where my screen is, that's when it starts to load. So by the time I get there, it's pretty much loaded, and the user never notices that there's any sort of lazy load going on. But it will dramatically cut down on your load time. So that's kind of how that works. Lazy Load Optimizer. Any questions or comments on this one? Super helpful if you have a site that has a lot of images. Maybe, for example, you have an e-commerce site with lots of images on a category page, for example, or as you're going down a product page, there's lots of related products and stuff underneath it. This is a way to let the page load quickly, but then, not actually load those images until you get there. Ben, if you have lazy load happening at the server level, yeah, you don't need this. This might conflict with the server process. And there are server, certain web hosts can provide this. There are certain plugins that can provide this as well. This is a standalone lazy load image plugin, and it works pretty well. Any other questions on this one? Lazy Load Optimizer. Okay, moving down the list to whose is online now. Anybody here run a community site where you've got lots of users on it a lot? This is a cool plugin for a site like that. It's kind of I don't know that it's necessarily super useful, but it gives a nice gee whiz factor. So let's go in here and let's see. Let's deactivate this one and let us activate who is online now. There we go. Now that's going to give us a widget. So let's stick it over in our sidebar. Let's see. Or maybe it's a short code. It's a short code. So let me grab this short code. And when I refresh the page, oh, come on. Really? wonder if it's the... I've used HTML for shortcodes before. Let's try it now. There we go. So look at that. Everybody go to this page and load the page, and we should get more people here. Okay, so somebody went. Now it works across the site, and I'm logged in, and it pulls my Gravatar in automatically. So you could have a nice face pile here of all the users in the community that are online at a time. Yeah, so if you have a community type site, this could be really helpful to see who all is online. Oh, by the way, did you see that refresh? Look at that. See it refreshing? It is Ajax. So every little bit, it's going to re-pull how many visitors are online. So that's pretty cool. So that is who is online now. I think it can be really, really helpful for those community type sites. Carol, does it just show the number of visitors? Yes. So if you are not logged into the site, it doesn't know who you are, right? So it just puts you in with the visitors total, and there's one registered member. That's me because I'm logged in, and I show up right there. So it's a pretty cool plugin, especially for free. Bill, is there geographic sorting to show where the users are? No, sir. This is all it does right here. Can you not have yourself show up? Jesse, I do not know. Let's see if there's a class around my Gravatar. The problem is this is Ajax, and so every time I look at it, every time I get to where I want to go, it's refreshing and I'm losing it. Ah, nuts. Okay, let's do this. Let's open image in new tab. It's pulling straight from Gravatar. I don't think there's a way you can hide yourself. And let's see if there's a setting for that here. By the way, you can make the images larger if you want to. This is the number of seconds for the Ajax refresh. Do you want to show the member list? Yes. Member style. You can put the name there too, which is kind of cool. So we can have a nice big image if we want. We can change it to name. So you can just have a list of members. Jesse, if you don't want people seeing you online, so what you should do then is create a username where your display name is something else. Make a fake account for you. There may be a way to display none that. Let's do this. Let's turn up our Ajax refresh interval to a lot, and let's see if there's any sort of classes. That's what I was trying to do a minute ago, and the Ajax kept bumping into me. What we get is... No, it's just there's not a class for you. Now, the only way that I could think of that you could do this would be to like have a jQuery script that looks for your name and then removes it if it shows up on the page. But that's kind of overkill, I would think. I would think it would be easier just to make a fake account and use that one. Okay, so anyway, that's fun. Who is online now? A lot of cool options, does some neat stuff. I like this one. If you have a community-oriented site, you really might find that to be helpful. Okay, any other questions or comments on this one? Yeah, my own worst enemy. Request an update to omit admins. Sure, that's what, go out there to the plugin, go over here to support, and let me log in real quick. one of the things in the support forum they've added somewhat recently is you can check the box. This topic is not a support question, and just say feature request. Don't show admins or whatever. Just write them a little note and see. I have pretty good luck requesting features. We've talked about that somewhat here on the Plugin Roundup in the past, of features I've seen that a plugin is lacking, and I've waited to feature it until the developer added it. So, yeah. Jesse, this is by the whole site. So, no matter, this is online total on the site, not just looking at this page. Yep, so this is the number of visitors that are on the site total. Okay. It can go anywhere, by the way, that you can drop the shortcode. It can go in the middle of page content. It does not have to be a sidebar widget. But you can put it in the footer. You can put it anywhere you can put a shortcode. Okay, next one down the list is this month's simple but useful plugin, Easy SVG Allow. How many of you folks are using SVGs for your logo, for example, in your site header? Have you moved to SVG yet? That is a really important thing to do, quite frankly, because one of the nice things about the SVG is it's vector, of course. And so when you are dealing with responsive screens, sometimes it's hard to make sure that you're loading the appropriate size logo. So if you upload the logo at its normal size on, a desktop here, and then if someone is looking at it on a Retina screen, like I have a Retina MacBook Pro, and if this was a standard resolution logo, it's going to look kind of grainy. And then when you look at it on a phone, it might look grainy as the same result. So, that it's weird, right? It causes lots of problems. And SVG is a vector, which means it is not created out of pixels. It is made out of mathematical statements, right? So, a matter of fact, if you want to see an SVG, this is what it looks like. Hang on one second. Let me get it open here. I thought I had this folder open, and I must have closed it inadvertently. Let me get this going. All right. Floral heart. Okay. So this is the PNG version of the graphic right here. It's just a heart that I found. It's a simple vector image, right? It's on gray because this is transparent. There is an SVG version that I've got here, and if we just drop that here into Coda, this is the SVG image. It's a text file, and these are all of the vector mathematical statements that are used to draw that very same exact heart image. Now, here's the neat thing. Look at the size of the transparent PNG image, 129K. The size of the SVG, 29K. So it's a significant size savings, and it's going to scale correctly for whatever box that it's in. So if it looks sharp as a tack on mobile devices. So for some time now, all of my logos for client sites that are up in the header, they're all SVGs. Now, there's some good conversation going on in the chat room about how you do that. Well, any vector editing program like Adobe Illustrator or Affinity Designer, if you have their logo, like the client logo, as an EPS file or an Adobe Illustrator file, any vector program, any modern vector software like Illustrator, like Affinity Designer, will export as an SVG. And so you just take the file and there it is. Now, here's the problem, and this was mentioned earlier. WordPress, by default, does not load SVGs. So, for example, if I go here to the media library, Jesse, you're correct. Not all EPS files are vectors. However, most logos you get that are in the EPS format are a vector, but you are correct. Technically speaking, that is right. So if we go to add a new file, if we try to drop this SVG file in, look here. Default WordPress says, sorry, you can't do that for security reasons. Now, it's possible that an SVG file could have malicious code. I've never seen that actually happen to any site I manage or any, so first of all, you'd have to have credentials to upload a file like that. There's other things. But still to this day, WordPress does not support SVG out of the box. So we have to do something about that. That's where this plugin comes into play. So let us activate Easy SVG Allow, which is not listed here. Hang on a minute. Add a new plugin. Install. Activate. Okay, so now with Easy SVG and Allow activated, there aren't any other, you don't have to worry about any other settings. All this does is tell WordPress, hey, it's okay to upload SVGs now. So let's drop our SVG file in and look, boom, there it is. Look at that. There's our SVG. WordPress will render it just fine. Browsers render SVGs, no problem whatsoever. So that's it. Install and activate it, and it's done. Now, there's a great question in the chat room that Ben has asked that is a perfect segue into the next thing I wanted to tell you, which is this right here. I included this plugin not just because it's useful if you just want something that's going to activate SVGs, but it's a great way to demonstrate how you can take a simple plugin like this and not have to use a plugin at all. So let me show you what's going on here. Let's open up the plugin page. Let me move some windows out of the way. I'm going to download this plugin directly, okay? So here is our plugin, Easy SVG. All right, so there it is. This is the plugin that I just downloaded from the WordPress.org page. And here is what it contains. Now, when you look at a plugin like this, and it's a single PHP file like this, you might consider just pulling the function out of it. Let me show you what I mean by that. Let's just open this PHP file here in Coda. This is all the plugin contains. It's 24 lines. Really, it's just this single function, a 6-line function. Can you see that? It's a 6-line function, and that's all the plugin does. If you kind of read through what's going on here, it's basically saying, hey, WordPress, in the upload file types that you allow, let us upload SVGs. That's it. So watch this. All I'm going to do, actually, before I break anything, I'm going to deactivate the plugin. But all I have to do at this point is copy the function and the add action. I'm going to copy that. Now I'm going to go over here to my child theme, into the functions.php, and I'm simply going to paste the function in and save it. Now I do not need this plugin active. Let's go in and re-upload that image. I don't need the plugin active anymore to upload our SVG. Boom. Yep, still works. See there? So the code just works. You do not have to have a plugin because the plugin is simply that function, right? Carrie is exactly right. So it's super helpful in your functions.php to do something like this. Add SVG support in WordPress. And you might even want to remind yourself, function stolen from, and then copy the plugin page URL. That way, if something ever breaks and you need to go back and research it, there you go. Yes, Stacy, borrowed. Okay, borrowed. It's open source. You can't steal it. Okay, so that's just something you may want to consider. Back in the Beaver Builder Developer course last year, I gave you a ton of functions, some of which came from single function plugins just like this that I pulled out and started using just as part of my functions.php. Now, another option is to create an MU plugin, a must-use plugin. So you could actually, let's do this. Here's another option. You could actually take that out and take this single PHP file plugin. I'm going to drop it here under MU plugins. Now, you do have to create that folder. That doesn't exist by default. This MU plugins directory stands for must use. And when I put that plugin file, you cannot put a folder underneath here. But a single PHP file plugin, that's what you can put there, and watch what happens. When I go under here, look, now there's a must-use plugin right here, and it is Easy SVG Image Allow. Now, the reason you want to do this is you can't deactivate it. Cannot be deactivated from within the WordPress admin UI. You have to go in here and actually remove it through FTP. Make sense? What is the difference between a drop-in and a must-use? So drop-ins sort of work alongside, that's a really good question. I'm not sure how to explain it. They work alongside other functions and plugins. A must-use plugin is a standalone function in and of itself, basically, but that's a longer explanation. So in my theme and plugin stack, I have all functions like this one that we just had in the functions.php that are not related to the theme itself. I have all of those in my own MU plugin, a custom functions plugin, so that if we change themes, those functions, I still want them to be around, and they will be because they're a plugin. Jesse, did I create the drop-in folder? No. The advanced cache, that's right here. The fact that there's this PHP file right here is what created the drop-in. This was actually created. This was PageSpeed Ninja caching. So this was all about this is a plugin that I tested. So we can actually delete that advanced cache, and drop-ins goes away. All right. So that was just a little teaching moment. How many of you have never seen that before? Was that helpful? Okie dokie. Any other questions or comments on this one? So I love the SVG. It is a fantastic way, especially for website logos. Okay. Oh, you know what? Before I forget, why don't I remove this MU plugin file? Because it'll be there forever because I will forget that I had added it. Okay. Now we should have no MU. There we go. Okay. Back to normal. Moving on down the list to this month's simple but useful plugin, numero dos, which is Bulk Clean. Bulk Clean. Now, the cool thing about this plugin is that it lets you clear out a WordPress install of all kinds of stuff all at once. Now, this can be helpful if you're trying to clear out a whole bunch of old posts, or if you've got a site that you've duplicated and you want to clear out a bunch of the content so you can use it for something else. This is just a neat little tool. Here's the thing. Deleting is forever. Forever is forever. Make a backup first. We're not going to delete any files with this, so you do have to just back up the database, but make sure you get a good backup before you use this plugin. Now, the little secret here is, how many of you knew that way up under the hood, everything in WordPress is really a post? Custom menus are posts, pages are posts, posts are posts, users are posts. Everything is a post, right? That's why that ID increments for everything. post ID, page ID. It increments all together for every single bit of content in WordPress. So what bulk clean lets us do is go in there and delete anything that's a post, which is pretty much anything. Yeah, users are just a post to the database like anything else. They just have extra meta information. Okay, so let's activate this, bulk clean. And let's go into tools right there. Tools. Okay, so look what we have here. These are all of our posts. Now, this does not let us delete users. Yes, users are in the user table, but what table they're in does not affect the fact that they are a post in that table. This plugin does not, however, let us deal with users, but it will let us deal with nav menu items, which is rather hard to see and deal with. But it will let us deal with our media files. Look, there's all the media files. Boom. There's pages, posts. It will also do custom post types. So let's go in here real quick and activate. Let's activate pods and WooCommerce. So we'll get a couple of different custom post types in there. And if we, okay, there we go. So now we have posts and pages and media, nav items, products from WooCommerce, stuff in pods. These are custom taxonomy items. This is a custom post type and things within the custom post type. So let's say, you duplicate a site. It's got 1 million products in it. We want to delete them all. Click all, and then delete right there. Boom, all the products are gone. Pretty cool, right? Now, Paul is asking a good question. Media files. If 3 sizes are generated, can you remove just 1 size? This is not a really helpful plugin to remove. Media items is not the strong point, right? So this is removing it from the database. I don't believe it's going to delete the file. Actually, let's test that assumption. So let's go here into uploads. 2018-07. No, it should be here in the media. So I changed the media directory. There they are. Okay, so floral heart. Floral heart. I don't see it. Do you guys see that? Floral heart? I don't see it here. All right, let's look at a different one. How about Michael Scott? It may be the SVG issue. Okay, I'm not seeing any of those images, and I'm not sure why. Interesting. Okay, I've just totally confused myself, and I'm not sure why our media files aren't showing up, because clearly they are there. Content media. Oh, there's... Okay, that's why. Hang on. All right. Content, media, and we have year folders. Okay, so here's our floral heart. My media library on this side is a mess. Okay, so there's the floral heart SVG. Let's do this. Now let's use bulk clean and delete the floral heart. So it's deleting it out of the database. Oh, nuts. I just deleted my test products. Crap. Okay, I'll go add those later. Deleting is forever, folks, so make sure you've only deleted what you want to delete. Okay, so it's not listed here anymore. It will not be here in the media library either. That should disappear. Okay, it's gone. But, yeah, it's still here. So it does not delete the file itself. Oh, it did. Look at that. Okay, now I'm intrigued. It did delete the file, so let's look at this one. Here's our dog. It's welcome. It's in 2018-012. Okay, so let's go to 12. Okay, there's Michael Scott. Welcome. Okay, let's delete Michael Scott. Okay, here's all these image sizes. See them? All these image sizes are there. So let's see if it's going to delete that. I am intrigued. Michael Scott, delete. All right, it is gone. it deleted all of the sizes as well. Okay, I'm liking this plugin even more. Look at that. So it went in and deleted everything. Now you can't select which media, only certain sizes of the file. If that's what you want to do, you want a plugin called Force Regenerate Thumbnails. And that will go in and recreate thumbnails for all of your images and remove the ones that are no longer defined by WordPress. So if you've got old image size files you're trying to get rid of, Force Delete Thumbnails is what you want. No, Force Regenerate Thumbnails. Just a minute. Yeah, Force Regenerate Thumbnails. This is the plugin that you want. Okay, so that was another rabbit trail. Any questions or comments on this one? This plugin is more useful than I anticipated it would be. Bulk Clean. All right. Anybody else? Okay, moving on down the list to Icon Factory. Icon Factory. Let's get that open and going. Now, as you know, I'm a big page builder fan. I'm a big fan of Beaver Builder. Beaver Builder includes all the icons. So you might ask yourself, why in the world, Nathan, would you suggest an icon plugin? And the reason is this one is stinking cool. It is just very, very cool. So let's activate Icon Factory. And we get a menu item. So let's go there. Okay. The downside is you don't have a million icons, but you do have a lot. Okay. Lots of icons. So these come free. And what it's going to let you do, let's just pick one. Who shall we pick? Let us pick... in honor of my phone just ringing, let's pick the phone. Okay? So now look at all the stuff we get here. Let's do an animation. Rubber band. Look at that. Do you see that? There's all sorts of animations you can put on these icons. Oh, I like that one even better. That one's cool too. That one. Okay, let's do that one. Is it Doodle Style? Sure. That puts an outline around it, which we can then control the size and color of. Look at that. Nifty. Is it very small and detailed elements? This one doesn't really have any. Do you want it sticker style? Sure. Look at that. You can change the width of the sticker or make it smaller. Go back to the same. It's got a shadow there. Do you want to change the color of the shadow? Why, of course we do. Let's make it ugly fuchsia. Look at that. You can change so much of this. Let's do a big soft shadow. Boom. Does it cast a shadow? Sure. Look at that, underneath it. You want sparks? I love this. Boom, look, it's got glittery stuff all over it. Let's animate them. Sure. Look at that. Crazy. All right, we need to make our sparks yellow. Okay. Background shape. Sure, why not? Let's put it in a big fat circle. Perfect circle. There we go. Or look at all these. You can make blobs. You can make brush strokes. Look at that. Chat bubble. Isn't this beautiful? I love this. Perfect circle. Okay. You can change the outline width, the shape scale, all that stuff. Do you want it to have rough edges? I don't know why you would, but you can. Ugly. Do we want an overlay texture? Why not? Look at that. Isn't this awesome? You can change the positioning, all this, there's lots of other stuff here. Okay, so when you're done, let's play our animation. There it is, and you get a short code, which you can put anywhere you can put a short code. Right? Actually, let's go to widgets, and we'll stick it in our little, right there. Boom! Look at that. Is it possible to change the color of the icon? Why, of course you can. Let's see. It's up here somewhere. Let me turn off some of these options. I'm getting seasick here. Okay. Global repainting. There is a way to do that. I've got to find it. No, navigation and color manager. Well, maybe there's not. That's weird. Try extra options lower right. I don't know what all this does. We just lost our global repainting. Well, we just did some. Oh, fill color. Boom. Oh no, that's the background. Well, there's got to be a way to do it. I'm just not sure what it is. But here's the cool thing. Watch this. When you're done setting up your icon to whatever you want it to be, you can't, look at this, save it as a PNG to the media library. Isn't that sweet? Or save it as a SVG file. Look, we're going to click that, and look, we now have an SVG file of this icon right there. Boom, there it is. Now, watch this. You can also, this is so cool. What if I want to use my client logo? Guess what? You can. I'm going to upload an SVG file, and I'm going to use this floral heart that we used earlier. Any SVG file will work. Check it out. Check it out. Now, let's go to preset. No. Back to the workroom. Do I have to save this? Is there something I'm not saving? Looks like we are. It's floral heart, save. Okay, let's put it in my username. Okay, test collection. Okay, workroom. Hopefully that got it. There it is. Okay, look, there it is right there. Boom. So now you can upload your own client logo and do neat stuff with it. Isn't that cool? And there are so many SVG libraries out there. There are SVGs of everything. Just Google free SVG. And they're just all kinds of things. Look at that. All these are SVG files you can use. So think about what you can do with this. Barney says, there goes my afternoon. Paul, do these icons show up when adding icons to Beaver Builder? No, sir. This does not integrate with Beaver Builder at all. However, You can drop it in as a shortcode here, or you can export as a PNG if you're not doing animation. But if you want animation, it's got to be done through the shortcode. Anyhow, that's pretty stinking cool, right? Icons Factory. The color setting was at the top when I imported the SVG, probably so. Yeah. In the updating, in the uploading area. Anyhow, I thought this one was one of the most clever plugins that I've seen in the WordPress plugin directory in a very, very long time. So pretty excited about giving you that one. That's Icons Factory by Artemy. Any other questions or comments on this one? Carrie, is it accessible by any user on the site or just the admin? I have no idea. Let's see. I've got an editor user, but I do not have user switching. So let's put that in real quick. Let's switch over to editor and see if it is allowed. No, it is not. Only the admin. Only the admin. So there you go. Any other questions on this one? We're going to wrap it up with a really nifty YouTube gallery otherwise. Okay. Batting cleanup today is automatic YouTube gallery. So let's activate that one. If you have a website or a client or your own YouTube channel and you want to drop a gallery of your stuff on your site, this is a really nice way to do it. So there's our YouTube gallery. Now, by the way, I've gone through and set up a API key and all that. The plugin gives you excellent instructions on how to do that, but you do have to connect WordPress to YouTube with an API key. It's free. Not a big deal. So what we're going to do is we are going to set up, let's see. Shortcode. Hang on, I did not give myself the sample shortcode. Just a minute. All these settings are here. Lets you set the number of columns and videos per page and so forth. I'm going to have to go back to the plugin page because I did not put the shortcode apparently on the handout. So documentation. Oh, that's why I didn't, because you just go to a page. Sorry about that. All right, let's go to a page. That's already got a video. There we go. Okay, yeah, it's real big right there. So automatic YouTube gallery. Let's put it right at the top here. We want a channel, but you can do playlists that are defined by username, keyword, video. So you can do a lot of different sources here. I'm going to use the iThemes YouTube channel here. So it's a channel with the YouTube channel URL. So I need to get that. Actually, I can probably just copy it from here. And then copy the channel ID. Now we can tell it, we have all of our different options here as well on how we want it to look, what we want the player to look like, autoplay or not. I'm just going to insert the shortcode for now so you guys can see what it looks like. So you get one primary video and then you get your wall of videos underneath. Very, very nice. Then you have pagination here as well. But your first, most recent video always stays here at the top with those settings. However, you can change that up within those settings that I just showed you. Carol, is it possible to monetize a gallery? I don't know. I am not smart on that side of things. So maybe somebody in the chat can answer that question for you. I don't know if you can do that or not. So Kim is saying she just found a plugin called Safe SVG that sanitizes an SVG upload. That's pretty cool. WordPress Safe SVG. That's a plugin to know about. Oh, it's brand new. All right, we'll add that one to our list for next time. Carol, will 2 of these work on a page? It's a great question. Let's find out. I'm just going to copy the short code, and we'll just drop 2 of them in and see what happens. My guess is I don't know if it will or not. 1. Yep, there you go. You can have 2 different galleries. 2 different short codes stacked on top of each other. By the way, this also works in Gutenberg. There's a block. Let me show you that real quick. Let me disable the Disable Gutenberg plugin. And now when we go to Pages, we will be in Gutenberg. And when we add a block, we search for YouTube. There's our automatic YouTube gallery. And right here is where you put the playlist information or channel information, and it will render it right out. The nice thing about these Gutenberg blocks is it renders it right out here with Ajax. So when you put that information in, there you go. And what you see is what you get. Pretty cool stuff. So it works with the button in the classic editor and a shortcode, or as its own little Gutenberg block here. So that is Automatic YouTube Gallery. And we've reached the end of this month's list of plugins here on the iThemes Training Plugin Roundup for January 2019. And as we always end these webinars, which are my favorite webinars of the month, we always ask you what your favorite plugin of the month was, and these votes all go into the best of that will happen in June. So, what was your favorite plugin of the month? One vote only, please. Entry expiration for gravity forms, YouTube gallery, icons, YouTube, icons, accessibility, lazy load, YouTube. Keep them coming, folks. Your vote matters. YouTube. Manage notifications, lazy load, entry expiration for gravity forms, icons. Yeah, I think we have some clear winners. Couple for lazy load. All right. Always a fun time. These are so much fun to both put together and to do. I look forward to these. So a couple of things I want to make you aware of. First of all, if you go to training.ithemes.com and you're looking at the upcoming webinars page, we've added a button here for you to sign up for schedule updates. If you're not getting an email about the upcoming iThemes training webinars, we're creating a new list segment just so we can send those out to you. If you want to be informed of all of the free webinars that are coming up on iThemes training, sign up for us right here. And by the way, even if you're getting iThemes email, just to make sure you get these, sign up for that's the schedule updates. That way you'll get in your inbox what all the upcoming webinars are here on iThemes training. The other thing I want to let you know is tomorrow we're back again with Lindsay Halsey talking about SEO 101. So whether you are an experienced SEO person already, this will be a good refresher and just a good look at SEO from someone else's perspective. Also, if you're brand new to SEO, this is a great place to start. So Lindsay is back January the 10th for SEO 101. Then Tuesday, the 22nd, keyword research. And Lindsay's an excellent presenter on SEO topics. We enjoyed her first webinar back in December, and we got a lot of really good comments about that. One last thing I want to share with you. We mentioned this yesterday in the WordPress security talk about how to talk to clients about security. We are going to do something really cool this year that we've never done before. For the last year and a half or so, we've been aiming for one premium webinar per month. And that's what we're going to be doing again this year on iThemes Training. We got some really neat stuff in the works. But the January premium webinar is going to be something like we've never done before. It is going to be a webinar series, actually, called Freelance Leap Year. And Freelance Leap Year is all about growing your business, taking a leap forward in 2019. Every month, I'm going to be hosting a specific subject, and this will be in addition to other premium webinars in a month, but this will be a 1-year. You'll sign up at the beginning in January, and it'll be a series of 12 webinars, one a month. We'll have a private Facebook group. Each month we'll be dealing with a subject that is critical to growing your freelance business, and we'll focus on that subject that month, both during the webinar, and then we'll have some conversations offline in the Facebook group as well, all about growing your business in these particular areas. We have 12 really good topics, and you'll be hearing more about that this week. We should have the sales page ready tomorrow, I believe. So it'll be, Doug, it's not exactly like a mastermind. It's really going to be a presentation. It'll be a lot more of an interactive presentation than I normally give. I'll broadcast video, and we'll do a lot of back and forth with the chat room. But it'll be on a particular topic. As a matter of fact, I'll just tell you what those are. Hang on one second. Let me get the document open. We're going to be this month. We'll be starting January 29th. That is the first one. We're going to be talking about confidence and dealing with a crisis of confidence that a lot of us in the freelance world have. And that's a great place to start for the new year, getting our head on straight about who we are and what we're doing and starting to build confidence. In February, we'll be talking about pricing your work. In March, we'll be talking about marketing and getting out there and growing your network. We'll be talking in April about building recurring revenue. In May, about productivity. In June, about clients, more specifically problem clients. In July, we'll be talking about a strategy for your consultations with clients. In August, it's going to be about building systems in your business. In September, proposals and contracts. In October, finances. In November, contractors. And in December, it's going to be what's next. Where do we go from here? So a lot of really good topics lined up for this year. It's going to be the kind of thing, though, where you'll have to commit in January because it's 1 year long, one webinar per month, and then offline Facebook discussions, a lot of tools along the way. My goal is to help you grow your business in 2019. Stacy, yeah, we'll have a sales page out with all of the details. That should be tomorrow. An email will go out with all that information. So if you're getting iThemes emails, you will receive that. If you're not getting iThemes emails, make sure you go to the free upcoming webinars page and sign up for schedule updates, and you will get that email with that information. As always, if you're a Toolkit member, you get that webinar series at no additional cost. So that's just part of your Toolkit membership, which is an incredibly good value. And just so I'm clear, this is officially January's premium webinar. We'll be having other premium webinars each month. Like we're looking at, just as far as subject matter goes for this year, we'll be having in February our SEO Bootcamp, as well as an SEO Business Day from Lindsay Halsey is scheduled. I'm working on a design boot camp for March, a copywriting workshop in April. We'll have some WooCommerce stuff, some Google Analytics stuff again. We're planning lots of really great content for the coming year. So should be a lot of fun, a lot of great stuff. And again, our goal at iThemes is to help you grow your business, make more money, get better clients so that you can do what you want to do with your life. So that's it. That's what we're all about. And I'm glad that you've joined me here today for this Plugin Roundup. It is coming to an end. We're already 15 minutes over, so I better sign off. Thanks again for hanging out with me for the last hour and 15 minutes. Hope you have a great rest of the week, and I'll see you next time here on iThemes Training, where we go further together.